What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being a part of the Chobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. You know, I'm just working my way on down the road, man. About a half hour away from being back down on the Red Brick House. You know, my love, or one of my many loves that I have. And I'm listening to FX1's First Things First, and Greg Jennings goes on, you know, they're basically saying, having a segment about, you know, things that can't happen. They're putting people on blast. You know, they put Lamar Jackson on blast and said, you know, you got everything that you wanted. You got rid of Greg Roman. You got Odell. You know, you didn't show up in the playoffs last year. You kind of gone downhill. You're kind of, you know, you got some issues to deal with. And Greg Jennings, because typically it doesn't matter. It's just Dak Prescott. It's an easy target. And shout out to Jacqueline for the shirt that is Dak the most hated. He truly is. It's funny because we've got this revisionist history now that Cooper Rush is Joe Montana in the waiting. I'm sorry, Steve Young in the waiting. We didn't know that we have Steve Young Part 2 in Cooper Rush. So you had Greg Jennings going through and saying, you know, and the pastor said, you know, you're right there on the cusp of being elite and things like that. I take that back. And so he goes on about the interceptions. He says, you know, in the last 12 games, you had 10 interceptions. You need to go back to, it's not difficult. You can't, you know, stare down the receivers. You got to go back to things you learned in Little League and you know, get back to the basics and this. Okay, I hear you. I hear you on that. But then to turn around and say, Cooper Rush went 4-1 in his starts. 4-1. And in his 4 wins, he threw no interceptions. You got to be like Cooper Rush. But he didn't mention the 3 interception game that he had against the Eagles. He didn't. He didn't mention that the defense played lights out. He didn't mention that we averaged 21 points a game without the interceptions, as opposed to the 30 points a game with Dak Prescott. We got Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, who, of course, you know, is trying to stay relevant. He's doing everything he can. He's clawing and scratching to try and have people watch him. When Micah Parsons talking about Hall of Fame, okay, and Micah Parsons is he's going to chirp. Micah Parsons is going to chirp every day. Micah Parsons recognizes social media. I'm going to be a social media star when I get done, so let me go ahead and start building the foundation. And also, I'm that good, I can talk the talk and walk the walk. Got that. So we're talking about Hall of Fame. So we go through Micah Parsons and all that, and then we turn it on Dak Prescott. You know, I laughed when we talked about the idea of Dak Prescott being a Hall of Famer and yada, yada, yada. And then going through and then trying to say, well, as a delusional Dallas Cowboy fan, I'm starting to think about it. Blah, 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 blah. But in the end, turns around and says, I'd feel more comfortable with Cooper Rush playing. I'd feel more comfortable with Cooper Rush. Make no mistake about it. Cooper Rush last year saved our season. Saved our season. To go 4-1 as a starter, while Dak Prescott was injured. Nothing short of miraculous. But for those out there that, if there's any statistic that is about as overrated as possible, is wins and losses by the quarterback. Because There's so many variables that go into that. And not all of these things are equal. I will say Colin Cowherd is right about something. And I was going through because he's got a whole Dak Prescott hate list, playlist. But he had mentioned a quarterback's success or failure, especially when they're drafted, the difference is going to a good team versus a bad team. It's the reason why bad teams are bad teams and you're drafted high up. It's because they're a bad team. They got poor coaching. They have poor players. They maybe have bad management. And a lot of times you get quarterbacks that go to not a good situation. If you're drafted by the Cleveland Browns years ago, your chances of success were slim and none. You get drafted by the Washington Commanders, your chances of success are slim to none. If you're drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid, your chances of success are a lot higher. So you look at situations like San Francisco. Okay, you got Kyle Shanahan. Their first-round quarterback, I can't think of his name at the moment, there's no excuse for him not to be a good quarterback with the system they have. They got players, they got coaching, they have a system. If you can't succeed there, you're not succeeding elsewhere. CJ Stroud going to the Texans, you look at that and say, that's a bad situation to go into. And it's going to be harder to succeed. Cooper Rush, come on, guys. Seriously. It just gets to be crazier and crazier, the things that you hear. The only thing they've got on Dak Prescott, and they come up with a new one every year. If there was anything else that they could go ahead and say about Dak Prescott, because before it was, he had one playoff win. Well, now he's got two. He beat Tom Brady. Okay. Now it's NFC Championship games and Super Bowls. But they'll turn around and tell you Justin Herbert is great. They'll say wins and losses. Dak is like 61-35. Lots of wins. Those don't matter when it's Dak. It just seems to be crazy. But yes, Cooper Rush, he's the answer for us. Yeah. I'm sure I'll see plenty in the comment sections because I've already seen some today on there. Dak just sucks. Cooper Rush is better. I don't know if those are actually real fans or people that just don't know. Have a great day, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Peace.